It's really hard. And this is the one I think that's very challenging because this is where a lot of people would stop at. You want to make sure that your people still respect you as their leader, even though you have no idea what anything in L&D is. What am I doing here? Am I growing? Am I
Yeah.
learning anything new?
How do you back yourself with a growth mindset to go, well, I don't know how to do this, but I'm going to back myself to learn how to do it?
Yeah, it's really hard. And this is the one I think that's very challenging because this is where a lot of people would stop at this line. It's the line of fear, and it's really hard sometimes. And at this point, I've done this type of leap. This is my fifth time. I have an understanding now of I can expect. Okay, the first week is going to be complete gibberish to me, and the first 90 days probably going to be very uncomfortable because you're learning, and everything's a foreign language, and there's just so much to learn, and because you're jumping into this completely new space, you give yourself the grace to know that your learning curve is going to be pretty steep. So I think a lot of this comes back to also being kind to yourself. I know for me, I'm someone who has very high expectations of myself. So I think that if I'm doing anything less than fully understanding exactly what this job is within 2 weeks of the job, then I'm failing. And really, it's to stop that mental pathway to say, like, no, that's very unrealistic. And that's not what my boss thinks. That's not what anyone thinks. And I know I add value in a very different way while giving yourself the grace to know that you are learning. You're going to be learning for the first couple of months, and it's going to feel uncomfortable. But the important part is to lean into that discomfort and to know that when you are uncomfortable, that's actually when you probably are growing the most. And when you are comfortable, that's the time to really question, what am I doing here? Am I growing? Am I learning anything new? So to me, that's when I say, lean into the fear.
As a generalist, you're going to find yourself in positions where you're the leader of people that are specialists, and they might be experts. So you're heading up a team of L&D professionals now. I'm going to hazard a guess. We didn't discuss this before the show, but you might have L&D people in there that have been in L&D for 20 years. And now here comes Christina. She used to be a chief of staff, and now she's our boss. How do you handle the dynamic of leading people where you're a generalist, but they are a I-shaped specialist?
If you really get in your head, you're like, why am I leading this team? And then you don't want to get to a point where you think you want to make sure that your people still respect you as their leader, even though you have no idea what anything in L&D is. So there's a couple of different layers there. One piece around it is what absolutely must come as a leader first is to build trust with the team. That has to happen as soon as you land, and you keep doing that for the first 3 months, 6 months, for as long as it takes. And that is critically important for any sort of leadership role, even if you're leading the team where you are already the expert, but especially if you're leading a team where you're not the expert, because they have to trust you. And that I think is the first critical important step, is to really nail the interpersonal relationship and come in with a mind, for me, of learning and genuine curiosity, and knowing that you're not the expert on this, but that's okay because they're the experts on this, so you can learn from them. But then coming in as a generalist, the role that I play within the team is more around the strategy and connecting what they do with the vision of the organization. And for me, this was actually a really exciting time to join this organization, the capabilities organization, because having come from a chief of staff role at that senior executive level, I was very close with Novo Nordisk's transformation. We have this very bold ambition within the next, within the next 6 years, we're going to be entering many different new therapeutic areas. Now, Novo is a company that's been in the space of diabetes for 100 years. And very recently did we move into, maybe in the last 30 years, we moved into the space of hemophilia, growth disorders, that's rare disease. And then very recently we moved into the space of obesity. But we were pretty much a diabetes organization forever. But in just another couple of years, we are going to move into almost 10 different therapy areas. That is a huge transformation. And for me coming in to lead this team, I know they find satisfaction in L&D design, and what they do in the L&D space is super cool in their projects. But my goal is for them to remember that their purpose is that they are the team who is responsible for readying the rest of the organization for that huge transformation that this company is going to make. And that is a very worthy and exciting and daunting task for this group. And for me, it's about painting that picture very clearly, setting that vision, setting my expectations around how they will approach this, and setting that strategy. And that's the kind of the niche that I play in that adds value to this team.